So, listen, I'm not gonna lie. If you were to tell me 6 months ago that Magna of the Black Bulls was actually going to defeat Dante of the Dark Triad, I don't know. Like alright, if I'm being quite honest, I would have probably said, I don't see that happening, but who knows? That would probably have been my response. But coming out of this latest chapter of Black Clover, manga chapter 293, honestly, Yo, welcome people, Sanjae here, and welcome back to the channel. Of course, for those of you who, returning subscribers, I haven't talked about Black Clover in the longest while, so I kind of want to talk about the latest chapter, well, the latest chapters, and kind of give back my refreshed thoughts on Black Clover in general. But yo, welcome to the channel. Like the video if you end up enjoying what I have to say about the latest chapter of the BC. And let's get into it. So chapter 293, people. Honestly, listen, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you like, yo, like Black Clover is like the sickest thing since sliced bread. But if there's one thing, if nothing else, if one thing that I've always loved about Black Clover is the ability of Tabata to like ensure that the supporting cast still has utility, purpose, and they can still, compete with the main set of characters who always seem to be getting or pushing forward, like your Asta, or your Yuno, or your Yami. Like, there's always at least a subset of characters that they always seem to be getting that push, or if not get that push, they always seem to play some relevance when it comes on to the team battles. Black Clover has a variety of fights where, if it were one-on-one, character X would have no business beating character Y, but Tabata, through the plethora of, or I guess the variety of team battles, he's ensured that the supporting cast stay relevant even 293 chapters in. And honestly, with the power system being, I wouldn't want to say vague, but with the power system still having, it's still ripe with potential in terms of it being explored and developed, I think all those positives, benefits, and potential is what we've seen here in these last few chapters of Black Clover with Magna versus Dante. And can I tell you, it makes sense. Similar to all those team battles where, every character played a part in defeating X character or Z character, Magna made perfect use of his training over the last 6 months to come up with a spell that not only links his soul to his opponents but combines their magic and splits it evenly, allowing him to actually go up against Dante of the Dark Triad. And obviously, like, on the surface of that makes sense. But even more so, just the way it was actually shown for Magna defeating Dante by the end of this chapter, it was actually beautiful and made sense. Like, Tabata, I liked it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna front. I'm not gonna front. I really liked it. I'm not gonna lie. Because, by the end, we see that, and as Magna explained, Dante and him were actually burning through a ton of their magic throughout their little brawl there. And even though Dante had the advantage because he had regeneration magic, he wasn't used to actually fighting somebody on his level. So the fact that he exhausted all his mana and by extension loses his connection with his devil, Lucifero, is like, I'm saying shit, that makes perfect sense. And with how they've been building up Magna's character, especially with the added flashback to Yami, it made perfect sense. Granted, alright, not even granted, but it just made sense. Magna, they've always portrayed him since he was introduced as being the gutsy, or being manly, or that's how Yami would like to market him outside of the Black Bulls. So I thought his will and desire to go on and keep fighting despite being out of mana made sense for him to actually overpower Dante when they're both basically at ground zero in terms of mana and magic. So that made perfect sense. And to me, a chapter like this just, as I said, it just reminds me of the fact that even though Black Clover might not be the greatest thing since sliced bread, Tabata has maintained a level of consistency. What was that? A level of consistency when it comes down to certain narrative elements, such as ensuring the supporting characters are still relevant, they still have utility, and when it comes down to actually defeating certain characters that a weaker character has no business in defeating him, there's actually a legit explanation through the power system or through the combination of abilities that are actually thrown against that character. And I don't know, it's just beautiful. So it's just really good to see that Black Clover has maintained this level of consistency even almost 300 chapters in. And I say it's refreshing because most of you would know that one of the main reasons I got into Black Clover, apart from being, recommended it by my friends, is that at the time I've always been hearing that it was being compared to Naruto. And if you've been watching my Uchiha Corner live streams for the last few weeks, one of the streams we had recently was, say, Naruto vs Naruto Shippuden, the Fourth Great Ninja War, streams like that. Of course, they're available if you want to rewatch them on the channel. But the point is, one of the problems I had with Naruto was, as it went on, the role of the supporting characters was basically diminished. And not to say that Naruto isn't still good, but with the diminishment, can I put it like that, of the role or importance of the supporting characters, I believe Naruto wasn't as good as it could have potentially been. Yeah, so it's cool to see here with the quote-unquote rip-off, even though at this point I think Black Clover has proven itself to stand on its own. But it's good to see 293 chapters in that the consistency and relevance of the supporting cast, and having them be characters that we can cheer for and actually want to see them, want to see where their battles are going to go. I like it. It's really good, because 293 chapters into to Naruto, I believe we'd have been in part 2 or Shippuden, or we'd be getting close to, where would we? We'd be basically at the fight against Orochimaru on the bridge, if memory serves right. 293 chapters in, give or take. Correct me on that if I'm wrong, but yeah. But I say to say, Black Clover, if you haven't gotten into it, I recommend it. Still check it out, even though the anime has ended for now. Trust me, once it comes back, we have a lot of things to look forward to when these fights get adapted. So there's that. What I will say that I actually also liked about the chapter as well is the comparison that Magna naturally would have made between himself and characters like Asta and Luck, who are also peasants or commoners, but at the same time they have their own unique set of abilities that they actually excel at. And I feel like when it comes on to Magna, even though similar to Asta, he's the commoner in the truest sense of the word, I think Magna's situation is genuinely that case where he has to, be creative with the tools that he's been given. So I really like that. It was really good to see, and I'm looking forward to seeing where the story goes from here. Especially with the fact that I do believe that Magna's new spell is something he has to prepare over the course of 6 months. So I'm interested in seeing how Tabata crafts Magna going forward in terms of like battle and fight choreography, and if Magna is going to become this character that's kind of like pre-planning, always planning and preparing spells to compensate for his, I guess, lack of raw power, which would be good. Like anytime a shonen comes with like a creative way to push forward their battle system and allow characters who might not have that raw power to, find some creative ways to, jazz up the thing. So yeah, that's all I'm saying. So anyway, let me know what you thought about these last few chapters, or at least the latest chapter of the Black Clover manga, and what are you looking forward to going forward from here as we, I would imagine, head towards the climax, well, build up towards the climax of the fight against the Dark Triad and the devils that are actually invading the planet. So there's that. But anyway, Sanjae Uchiha, respect for tuning in. Hope you guys are having an awesome day, night, noon, afternoon, evening. Yeah. Rate, comment, subscribe, leave a comment. Let's talk about the chapter, and I'll see you in the next Black Clover video.